Two professional Nikons. Same company, same badge, both built for people who shot for a living and could not afford a failure. One of them costs about $670 today. The other one, the newer one, the one that is better at almost everything you can measure, sells for under $300, and quite often for half of that. That is not a market being clever. That is a market not paying attention. And it is the whole reason this video exists. So today, professional cameras that have quietly collapsed in price. Not cheap cameras. Not beginner cameras. The bodies that newspapers and wedding studios and working portrait photographers actually put through 200,000 frames. That you can now buy for less than a decent lens. And number one is a camera that was standard issue for press photographers for decades. And it is still the cheapest way to hold something that serious. If you would rather hear the honest number than the hype, subscribe. Now before anything else, let me tell you exactly what happened. Because the reason these are cheap is not that they are bad. It is the opposite. Around the turn of the century, the professional world went digital, and it did not go gradually. Studios, agencies, and newspapers replaced their film gear in one wave, because they had to, and because their clients demanded it. All of that equipment hit the second-hand market at once. Not a trickle of cameras from people clearing out a loft. An industry emptying its cupboards inside about 5 years. And here's the part that matters for you. Professional gear was built to a completely different standard because it had to survive a working life. Shutters rated for 200,000 frames when a consumer camera was rated for 20. Sealed bodies. Metal, where the amateur version used plastic. Motor drives designed to be run every day for a decade. So the best built cameras ever made are now the cheapest cameras relative to how they were made. And nobody wants them, which is the honest half of the title. They are heavy, they are loud, they are ugly. No collector is putting one on a shelf. Now the scoping, and I want to say it plainly before I claim anything crashed, because plenty of professional gear did not crash at all. The Nikon F3, the manual focus professional body, is around $670. The Canon EOS 1V, the last professional film Canon, runs $750 to over $900. The Fuji 6x9 rangefinder that people call the Texas Leica has gone past $1,000, and in some cases well past $1,300, and it has been climbing hard this year. So which professional bodies rose and which collapsed? It is not about quality, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The cameras that look old went up. The cameras that look like a 1990s camera went down. Dials, knurled rings, and a slim body get collected. A big black plastic-clad autofocus body does not, no matter what is inside it. One rule, and I will only say it once. Condition rules everything, and on a professional body, condition includes how hard somebody worked it. Every figure here is a rough range from August of this year. 8. Number 8. The Canon T90. $75 to $150, and often the lower end of that. This is the last professional manual focus Canon, the end of the FD line, and it is the camera that invented the shape every camera has had since. The grip, the rounded body, the command dial under your finger, the LCD on top. It was designed by the man who went on to shape a generation of Canon bodies. And every camera you have held in the last 30 years is descended from it. The honest flaw is serious, and you must know it. These suffer from a well-known shutter magnet problem, the EEE error. And while a technician can often free it, that depends entirely on there being a technician. The buy check, fire it at every speed twice, and listen. If you see an error on the top panel, walk away no matter what the seller says about it clearing up. Number 7. The Bronica SQA. Around $190 for a working body. This is a 6x6 medium format system, modular, with interchangeable backs and finders, and it did an enormous share of the wedding work of the 1980s and 1990s. It is the camera the photographer at your wedding was probably holding. The honest flaw: a body alone is not a camera. You need a back, a finder, and a lens, and each is a separate purchase, so the sticker price is genuinely not the whole price. The buy check: fit the back and wend it through a full roll of nothing, watching that the frame counter advances every time. Backs are where these die. Number 6. The Bronica ETRS. $250 to $400 for a working one. Same idea, same modular system, but the smaller 6 by 4.5 frame, which means 15 or 16 shots on a roll instead of 12. If that sounds trivial, it is not, because medium format film costs the same either way, and you are getting a third more frames for it. The honest flaw: the leaf shutters live in the lenses on this system, which is wonderful for flash and expensive when one fails, because you are repairing a lens and not a body. The buy check: fire every lens you are offered at its slowest speed and listen for it hanging open. Number 5. The Canon EOS 3. Prices are all over the place on these, from under $100 for a tired one, up to $400 or $500 for a clean one. So this is the pick where you have to shop rather than buy. It has the eye-controlled focus, where the camera reads which part of the frame you are looking at, and focuses there, which sounds like a gimmick from a magazine and genuinely worked. And it takes every modern Canon EF lens. The honest flaw: that eye control does not work for everybody, and glasses make it worse. The buy check: if you can, try the eye control before money changes hands. If it does not lock onto your eye, you are buying a very good ordinary camera and should pay accordingly. That is 4 down, and if this is the sort of thing you want more of, subscribing costs nothing. And tell me in the comments which of these you had. Quick thing before the rest, because it is the same idea as everything in this video. Every week somebody writes to me having paid real money for a camera nobody can repair. One had paid $2,000 for a compact whose shutter controller died 11 months later. Another wrote about the camera he has shot since 1978. 3 services in all that time. Still working. Same hobby, same money. And the difference was never the money. It was knowing which one was which. So I put the whole map in one place. The models, the prices, the honest catch on every single one, and which failures are a bill instead of a funeral. It is at CAMERAWORKBENCH.com. The code is on screen now if you would rather scan it than type it, and the link is in the description. Now, back to the list. Number 4. The Pentax 645. $200 to $350 for a body. Medium format, built like a tank, and the thing that makes it unusual is that it does not feel like operating a system. It handles like a big 35mm camera, which is exactly why it was the one a lot of working photographers reached for when they had to move fast. The honest flaw: the film insert is fixed. So unlike the Bronicas, you cannot swap a half shot back mid-job, which is precisely the thing a professional would have wanted. The buy check: the film insert is also the part that goes missing. Confirm one is included, because buying a body without it is a common and expensive mistake. Number 3. The Nikon F100. Around $225. And this is the one I would actually put in somebody's hands. It was known as the Baby F5. It gives you something in the region of 80% of what Nikon's flagship does, and it does it at a fraction of the money. It takes an enormous range of Nikon glass, including lenses people are still buying today. The honest flaw: the back door latch is a known weak point on these, and the rubber grip goes sticky with age, which looks worse than it is. The buy check: open and close the back half a dozen times, and make sure it latches solidly every time. Number 2. The Nikon F4. Under $300, and most of them sit between $150 and $250. This is the one that should make you angry, in a useful way. The F4 was Nikon's flagship, not the affordable one, not the enthusiast one, the professional body, the one that went to wars and to the Olympics, and the first Nikon flagship with autofocus. It is built like a bank vault, and it will meter with almost any Nikon lens ever made, which is a genuinely rare thing, and it is worth less than half of the F3 that came before it, and does less. That is the whole thesis of this video, sitting in one brand, in one lineup, in two cameras you could hold in the same hand. The F3 looks like a classic camera. The F4 looks like a 1990s camera. That is the entire difference in the price, and it has nothing to do with which one takes the better photograph. The honest flaw, it is heavy, genuinely heavy, and it runs on batteries in a grip that not everybody loves. The buy check. The LCD panels on these can fade to the point of being unreadable, and that is not economically repairable. Look at the top panel in daylight before you buy. And number 1, the Graflex Speed Graphic. The parts-only ones go for almost nothing, and the collector-grade ones climb past $2,000. But working, usable examples sit in the $200 to $600 range, which for what this is, remains extraordinary. This is the press camera. For decades, if you saw a photograph of a crime scene, or a fire, or a politician in an American newspaper, there is a very good chance it came off one of these. It is large format. The negative is 4 inches by 5, which is somewhere around 15 times the area of a 35mm frame, and the difference is not subtle. And nobody wants it, for reasons I completely understand. It is a wooden and metal box with a bellows. You load one sheet at a time. There is no meter and no automation of any kind. It is the least convenient camera in this entire video by an enormous margin. But it is also the only one where you are holding the actual object the history was made on, at a price below most of the digital bodies in the shop window. The honest flaw, beyond the inconvenience, is that sheet film and the holders to put it in are their own hobby with their own costs, and you should price that before you buy the camera. The buy check. Extend the bellows fully in a dark room and shine a torch inside. Any pinhole, and you are buying a repair. So here's the professional body check, and it is different from checking a consumer camera because these had a job. First, look for wear in the right places. A professional camera with a pristine body and a worn base plate has been used properly. A pristine one with brassing on the corners has been dropped. Second, on anything electronic, look at the display in daylight before anything else. Faded segments on an LCD are the one fault that quietly ends a camera, because nobody is making replacements. Third, ask what the battery takes, and then check that you can still buy it. This is where the 90s bodies fail, and it takes 30 seconds to find out. Fourth, on a modular system, price the whole thing. Body, back, finder, lens. The cheap body is bait, and the parts around it are where the money actually is. And fifth, the one that separates these from everything else on this channel. Ask what a service costs, and ask whether anybody near you still does it. On a consumer camera, that is a nice question. On a professional body with a motor drive, it is the only question, because the whole reason to buy one of these is that it was built to be maintained rather than replaced, because that is what all 8 of these have in common. They were not built to be sold. They were built to be worked by people whose rent depended on them not failing. That is why they are still here, decades after the cameras that outsold them went to landfill. And it is the reason the market has this wrong, because the market is pricing how a camera looks in a photograph of a camera, and these were never made to be looked at. So tell me in the comments, Did you ever own a professional body? Which one? What did you shoot with it? And is it still in the house? I read every single one.